people just confused, like mass hysteria. And then like when the information came out that it was just an individual with a knife there, and then you hear like the stories, and then you hear a baby and child, and I think that's when
it really,
that's when like all the gloves are off. You know, people are just yeah, it's not something that I think the human brain can comprehend.
The serious and tragic event that, well, two events actually that occurred over this past week in Sydney involved the unfortunate incidents of stabbings. One that occurred in Bondi, Westfields, and the other that occurred in Wakeley at a church.
Yeah, I mean, where do we begin? Like, so this happened last weekend, and I think when the news broke out, it broke out
Saturday
around
afternoon.
5 to 6 maybe.
event, the occurrence happening at like from 3 something.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost don't believe it, right? Like, so we're talking about specifically the Bondi Westfield stabbings. I mean, now we know that the individual at hand, his name is Joel Cauchi. 6 people were killed, 5 women, and 1 security guard, I believe, right?
One security guard just started on the
started.
job,
12 individuals injured. Again,
including a 9-month-old baby.
9-month-old baby. So just shocking scenes, and like visually when you hear it, we heard like that it was an individual with a machete, right? Like that's what was like the going description, and like
on social media.
Yeah. And this is like when you just picture that visual, you're and I was going to say Bondi Westfields, it's just something that it makes no sense,
the
right?
Dissonance and the you would just never think
it would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Sydney was in pandemonium. I think we were in disbelief. We listened to obviously the news of the night, and we're fed. I mean, when you hear something like that, initially, I think, rightly so, due to the current environment that we're in, you think terrorism. Like, I'll say it out there, because initially, I think that's what a lot of people were thinking about, that was actually occurring. But, you know, once reports came in, we understood that it was an individual working alone. And then you start hearing these stories, and then you just almost in a state of like shock, confusion, how one man in such a big amount of space can cause so much havoc. But like, it clearly happened, right?
Yeah, and chuck in as well, I guess, in the state that we live in regards to social media and information and live accounts being there and being able to know the news as quickly as it happens, I guess. Then the want for information and clarity is important, but then I guess the speculation, as you mentioned, of, you know, post 9/11 and the thought of terrorism, right, is just a thing that we've just have to start, like, I guess, living with, know it, and unfortunately,
this wasn't terrorism though, right?
it wasn't, but the brain, there's probably some scientific term for it where there's a cognitive bias, like, or the way that your brain makes a shortcut to either make sense of something, or there's a, you know, making a quick judgment based on what level of information that you have, right? Like people have been making all of these calls that are like, as the event, you know, took place, once it all settled down and everyone's trying to understand, and I get, because you're being rocked by something like that, you want to get some meaning as to what has caused this.
Yeah, I'm pretty intrigued. Like when we zoom out, like obviously reports have now come out that Joel Cauchi has a history of mental illness, and we're not going to go specifically into all of that stuff and the stabbings, but it's very interesting, you know, just to observe like the social media recourse, right? So since the Lint Siege Cafe, we haven't seen something like this. So needless to say, Australia...
We haven't seen anything like this to this level, to this extent, to this profile.
That, right? So
probably, like, and I guess in comparison to potential audiences from overseas, right? It's this is polarizing for us because it's just something that
Yeah,
That
it's not
doesn't
something
occur
we're used to
every day.
processing. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think just to see like the amount of panic, confusion, and yeah, I don't know the word. Hatred's probably like the strong word, but you can see that like we like the current state of the world, like Sydney and Australia. They kept using the moniker. These are scenes and things that you see, not see in Australia, but you see in the US.
Yeah.
And rightly so. Like there's definitely elements of that, but like I think we're coming to a point where not to say that we're desensitized, but a lot of these things, Australia's not immune to it, right? And no country
No
now
country's immune to it,
is
yeah.
immune to it, especially with the rate in which information is flowing around the world here. But again, people just confused, like mass hysteria, and then like when the information came out that it was just an individual with a knife there, and then you hear like the stories, and then you hear a baby and child, and I think that's when
It really.
that's when like all the gloves are off. People are just yeah, it's not something that I think the human brain can comprehend, or it really takes time, right?
Even in the context of, you hear about some of these things happening, and you don't think about it happening in your own country, let alone to maybe something to a person that you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, for like, while we're at it very quickly, I guess like our heartfelt condolences to all the families that have been involved, that have been impacted, by all of this. I can't imagine what it's
The loss and the shock.
what
Especially,
it's like. Yeah.
I feel like it would be good to at least name the victims to pay respects. So Faraz Tahir, Jade Young, Pakria Darchia, Dawn Singleton, Ashley Good, and Yuxian Cheng, who were all killed during the stabbings on the scene.
Yeah, like, yeah. Even now, like, just thinking about it, like, I think all of Australia was like in a state of shock, and yeah, you got to see that good side of like the country of people of like all creeds and nationalities kind of like band together, but then you just got to see like a side of humanity that I think we're all aware exists, but sometimes can be sheltered in the country that we are in here.
Or, well, also, I guess, in light of that, right? Because again, knowing that this is this was not something that was based on a certain set of ideology, or, well, there is a sense of there could be a.
They were looking for a motive. In terms
yeah,
of
the motive that's been
I
presented.
think that,
Yes.
but that's the
Like, it's what I'm trying to say here is that it's I think the mental illness component, we can't look past that, because in the sense that people that are like this also need help,
yes.
right? And if they're not able to access the help, I mean, there's been reports whether he had been being removed off his medication. I mean, the plea from his parents and their commentary on it is very heartbreaking. But it's this I guess it shines a different light on a couple of things, right? Where it's access to health, access to support is very important. We need to be able to support those who need it, and being able to readily provide that access, especially for those who may be disadvantaged in any way. That's important. The other piece to this as well is, I can't help but think about it, right, where 5 of the 6 that were unfortunately killed were women. And in light of trying to, people trying to understand the motive and whatnot, very quickly want to highlight that, there is this this ongoing, I guess,
Violence against women.
which he was apparently on report for as well, then known to the police for in Queensland.
Yeah.
But then when he moved to New South Wales, I guess that information wasn't known. But not to get into the details of things, it's just so, I guess what we're wanting to highlight here is how complex the issue is.
Yes.
The event, how it's impacting how people are still processing it in light of, I guess, the world that we live in, and it's how do we want to move past this?
Yes.
What do we need to do better at?
And just ways to hopefully avoid these kinds of situations again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like it's a tough one. And a couple of days after, as if like that wasn't enough, like I think this happened pretty late on that particular day. And it was caught on video, Bishop
Live stream.
a
Yeah.
live stream. So like it was, you can actually, I mean, it's been taken off now. Bishop Mari Emmanuel, and Syrian bishop in Sydney, Australia, was stabbed. I mean, was it a pen? Was it? It was.
I still
pen?
don't know if
Okay,
it was. Allegedly, it's a pen, or allegedly the knife didn't. The switch knife didn't come out. Like,
look, he was stabbed during a live stream.
During a funeral.
Was it a funeral?
Was it a funeral?
Apparently, it was a funeral.
It was a live stream,
funeral,
and this guy is actually quite well known. His live streams attract hundreds of thousands of viewers weekly.
Apparently, super popular on TikTok.
He is.
Yeah.
He's very popular. Like I've seen him in a couple of podcasts. But note that this has happened a couple of days after this. So Sydney is absolutely reeling.
And on top of that, there was a couple of low-profile incidents as well that had happened on the Friday.
Yeah.
And it happened like in Bondi as well. And then there was another one in another location.
It's like this particular scenario had its own its own little peculiarities. I mean, after that, there was rioting. There was mass rioting outside of a church for churchgoers. The actual bishop himself, prayed for the guy that stabbed him, and thank God, like all those individuals involved in that are all okay. The bishop and specifically, but yeah, like at the moment we're like, I don't want to over sensationalize it, but like Sydney specifically is in a mode that just we have not seen in a long while, where everyone's kind of on edge, right? Like the irony is, like you said, like knife crimes and crimes of violence, it occurs. It's just that the nature of both of these two acts in terms of the scale,
the impact,
the individuals,
profile.
like women, children, like that's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
And then you have a bishop being stabbed on a lot, like I'm sure a lot of you can probably find the videos, but when we saw the video, like you just don't see stuff like that. It's intense. Like it's actually intense. And I think, Australia is a blessed country, but we're not immune. Like the things that we're consuming, the wars that are being fought in the world now, a lot of people are in a state of, they're just in a state of edge, right? And like when you have a couple of like individuals that are just not dealing with it in the correct way or not processing it, you're seeing levels of manifestation.
Aren't being supported in the way.
Aren't being supported. You're seeing levels of manifestation come out here on things that we just haven't seen, definitely at the scale and frequency, which is, like, again, like what else can you say to stuff like this other than like, look, we're all here together, right? Like we all need to band together as a community. Like specifically for the bishop one, like the writing's intense. Like it's outside of a church. It's by,
that was immediate.
like it was immediate.
Yeah.
Like we kind of get it, but like if the bishop can forgive, like arguably, like once we start going into that mob mentality, it gets really hard, right? So like it's easy to say that when, again, and I kind of mentioned to you, like I find it like absolutely shocking that like we had one individual with a knife and maybe not a firearm, but was able to do so much damage, and there were so many men there. And this is going to be an unpopular take, but then like, dude, you're not the one. I'm talking to myself. You're not the one in there in utmost panic. You're hearing that there's a guy with a machete there. And, through stuff like that, we see acts of bravery. The bollard man. So you have one individual with like a bollard just going out there and actually doing his best, and good on him. And then you have like some of the security guards that got
the other security
guard that tried his best. So
and we of course the policewoman as well, who was able to disarm the situation on her own, and then tend to CPR as well after the fact. It's still like, as dire as things can be sometimes, still the goodness that can come through in these situations. I guess the resilience, the
I mean, they exist, right? And
Yeah.
they are basically the seeds of hope that make us believe for a better tomorrow and a better future, right? And I think what we've just got to like understand is like Australia as a country and like other countries are going to be hit by individuals or groups that seek to destabilize peace, whether at an individual level or at a systematic level. But it's our reactions as a community that determine how we process it forward. And if you're walking around with this on edge and this hate and you're looking for just one reason to pop, and it can be intentional or non-intentional, like that is a problem. That is an inherent problem, and that is probably what like levels we're seeing. Like it's pretty tough out there on various different levels when it comes to like inflation, the economy, the things that we're seeing out there in terms of petty theft and crime. And in places like America, it's amplified 2 to 3x.
and also I hate to say it's accepted as some level of normalcy, even like, again, don't want to get into the politics of the guns and everything like that, right? But
Yeah, but we can't accept it here.
we can't,
We can't accept
we
it
didn't
here.
we didn't accept it when the guns there was
During the
that
Darwin shooting.
thank you.
Yeah.
When that happened,
And then
took action there, and
Yeah.
now we're at this point where
this is why these incidents have been such a shock, because at least, like, thank God that it didn't involve firearms, but there was still so much damage with simply something like a machete and a knife. But otherwise, we can only keep hoping, sending our condolences again to the family of the victims, and also keep hoping that the victims who are in hospital are recovering as well.
Yep.
And that Sydney itself will be able to not necessarily bounce back is a bit
Look
too
out.
strong a word, but like look out for each
look
other.
out for each other.
Hope that we this situation will never have to come to pass again.
Yeah.
And I guess in light of how you were saying it's that weird reminder of no matter how hectic the world can get, and we're all feeling the pressure of all of these different things that we're all kind of facing this, right? So I guess the important thing is just to have that sense of humanity for your people around you, and just to
have the conversation. Have the conversation with friends, like how you feel, how you process it, because
check in
when
with each
things
other.
are not processed, that's when you're looking for that opportunity to blow up. A bit of a weird way to word it, but
well, in
have the
any
conversation.
scale, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
whether there's disagreements across families, or your partner, or how it impacts you yourself at work, and any instance that you're facing.
Exactly. But yeah, otherwise, everyone, look out for each other. Take care of yourselves. But hopefully, these communities affected by these incidents will be able to recover as well and get through it.